中华文明绵延数千年，有其独特的价值体系，强调言必信，行必果，人而无信，不知其可也。像这样的思想和理念，不管过去还是现在，都有其鲜明的民族特色，都有其永不褪色的时代价值。
言必信，行必果 is a line Confucius said more than 2,000 years ago. It means one must be true to their word and determined in their work. For an individual, integrity is a moral imperative. For a country, it demands good governance. And for China, an apt example is the 5-year plan. Today, I'm going to talk with my friend Lawrence Brom on the relevance of this Chinese saying, 言必信，行必果.
Wow.
What is this place?
This is incredible. Look at this.
Yeah.
Have the ancient city, we've got the super new city over here.
This is a product of good planning. Lawrence, let's start with the quote, 言必信，行必果. It's actually Confucius said 2,000 years ago about commitment, about planning. Do other cultures have similar quotes and phrases?
Sure, I think the Irish have something like, a promise made is a debt unpaid.
It is a foundation of the social contract.
Absolutely.
The party has been making plans for the country's growth, social and economic. Let's talk about the 5-year plan. Actually, it started when the Republic was founded.
Planning matters. Planning is essential in business. If you don't have planning, how do you structure your companies? How do you organize your budgets? Likewise, it's essential in government.
Plans is good, but delivering on those plans is even better. You think that the Chinese has been consistent in there?
They're very good at delivering on the plans. One of the things about the structure of the Chinese government, which also goes back to really a continuum of ancient philosophy, is consistency and continuum. The fact is that China has a consensus-building process, and the transition of leadership from one generation to another is not abrupt, but it's one of a transitional evolution.
Going on to the 14th 5-year plan, China has got to have carbon neutrality, technological upgrading.
Exactly.
That is ambitious goals.
These are all in play, but they're being built on a very, very key pillar of the last 13th year plan. We've seen China basically eliminate domestic poverty, which I think no other country has been able to do. That kind of commitment. We've had presidents in America who are elected who have no experience at all in substantive government. All promises that are not based on what can be delivered.
The bigger picture is that making plans and delivering on those plans give the planners credibility, consistency. That will be an asset. So in general, if there is a universal message that China's practice of making commitment, enforcing it, delivering on the targets.
I think the message to the rest of the world is don't lock yourself into economic ideology. Planning and market are not in conflict. Actually, they're in synergy. And to use a Chinese concept, they're in harmony.
China's 14th 5-year plan is closely watched by the world. The country is aiming high, from sustainable growth to climate change and technological progress. If history is any indicator, China always delivers on its plan.
谋划“十四五”时期发展要坚持发展为了人民，发展成果由人民共享，努力在推动高质量发展过程中办好各项民生事业，要更加聚焦人民群众普遍关心关注的民生问题，采取更有针对性的措施，一件一件抓落实，一年接着一年干，让人民群众获得感、幸福感、安全感更加充实、更有保障、更可持续。 党和人民风雨同舟，生死与共，始终保持血肉联系，是党战胜一切困难和风险的根本保证。正所谓，得众则得国，失众则失国。
That message was first recorded in the Book of Rise, written more than 2,000 years ago. People-centric thinking has a long history in China, and it is one of the most important political ideals in Chinese culture. In 2020, the message revealed itself again in modern China. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought people's lives upside down. But Wuhan, a city once hit the hardest by the virus, has gotten back on its feet. What have the Chinese done right, and how it is connected to their view on people and their well-being? Let's meet with Steve McClure from Wuhan University, who has been through it all with people of Wuhan in the battle against COVID-19. Hi, Stephen.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing good, and you?
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
We're talking about this people-centric philosophy actually originated in this book, the Book of Rise, 2,000 years ago in China. And it has been a supreme philosophy for many rulers, many generations of rulers here in China. But you have the same concept. Abraham Lincoln said, the government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
That of the people, for the by the people, and for the people. It was which people he was talking about. Yeah. I think that's it was decorative speech.
And
And
you think it is not implemented in full policies?
No.
So the people-centric principles is universal.
I think that works. You know, I mean, that's the only way to have effective governance, really. I mean, the people are the country. I mean, if you don't take care of the people, then what do you have?
Let's go back to 2020. What was life like?
Well, we had the lockdown.
Were you nervous back then?
Not really. I mean, I didn't feel I was at a high risk.
Did you get any kind of help from anywhere?
Well, I mean, everyone that was in my complex was being supported by the community volunteers and the neighborhood committee. You know, people came knocking on my door, checking my temperature, checking to see if I was okay. When I ran short on food, it was either the people from my workplace or the community volunteers that made sure I could get the food that I needed to continue to be comfortable.
How do you look at the different responses from people in Wuhan and elsewhere?
I thought it was excellent here because there was efforts made from the top, from the national level, that were supporting people in Wuhan, and then there were the efforts from the bottom, from the communities, to respond to it and coordinate. So I just thought, I just don't think there's any way to deal with the pandemic without having this massive amount of civic engagement to make sure that everyone was okay. I don't see how anyone could do a lockdown like in Western countries without having that kind of infrastructure.
Somewhere else in the world, for example, in your country, probably because of some of the lacks in efforts from the government.
Well, that's what I think it's for, but I don't necessarily think that we did that effectively this time around. Something's missing if you're not talking about the people. Well, if you lose sight of that, then you're not doing anything. When you have everything break down into an adversarial conflict, then how are you ever going to reach the kinds of compromises and consensus to move things forward?
你们好，这个都是送到家里去。
对对对对对对。
This is a mid-sized community in Wuhan. What is it like 1 year after COVID?
恢复的很正常了，而且呢，社区呢在这一年里面也做了很多工作。
我们心情踏实下来，也跟我们社区的那个工作者啊是分不开的。他们不辞辛苦，4点多钟就去拖菜。
专门有专班志愿者，我们管委会还有人下来，24小时服务社区啊。每天有工作人员定点的询问、打电话，有时上门，每天是2次。
大家都积极报名，维护我们这个小家，每天巡逻在门口帮忙值班，小家好了，国家才能好，是不是？
The people-centric philosophy has been taken seriously in China. To put people first will be a test and reminder for the party and the government.
全党同志要把人民放在心中最高位置，坚持全心全意为人民服务的根本宗旨，实现好、维护好、发展好最广大人民根本利益。